Hey guys, how you doing? In this video, we are comparing the Samsung Galaxy Watch Ultra 2025 with the new Galaxy Watch Ultra 2, focusing specifically on size, comfort, and how much content you can actually see on the display. Both are 47mm watches with exactly the same footprint. However, the Ultra 2 feels noticeably different on my wrist because it is thinner and sits closer to my arm. This makes a major difference for me while sleeping, working out, and simply wearing the watch throughout the day. There's also a surprising difference between the displays. Even though both watches were using their default font settings, which is level 3, the text was not shown at the same size. Together with the larger display, this allowed me to see more content in messages, menus, and submenus on the Ultra 2. Now for reference, the dark watch on the left is the Ultra 2 in titanium gray, and the blue one on the right is the Ultra 2025 in titanium blue. Whenever I refer to the older Ultra or the Ultra 1 in this video, I mean this 2025 model. This is not supposed to be a complete future comparison. Both are rugged Ultra watches with a titanium case, sapphire crystal glass, LTE, and 64 gigs of storage. Today, I mainly want to show you how large they really look, how they feel on the wrist, and what difference the larger display makes in everyday use. So there's no difference in the overall footprint. Both cases measures 47.4 by 47.1 millimeters. The Ultra 2 is therefore neither shorter nor narrower. On a smaller wrist, it still takes up exactly the same amount of space. The important difference is the thickness. The Galaxy Watch Ultra 2025 is 12.1mm thick, while the Ultra 2 measures 10.7mm. That is a reduction of 1.4mm or about 12%. It is immediately noticeable from the side and, for me, very clearly noticeable on the wrist as well. Without the band, the Ultra 2025 weighs 60 grams, while the Ultra 2 actually weighs slightly more at 61 grams. Even so, the new watch feels more comfortable to me. Its thinner case sits closer to my arm and feels less top-heavy. The darker color also makes the Ultra 2 appear slightly more compact, even though its footprint is identical. The band look different as well. The blue marine band of the Ultra 2025 has more pronounced ridges and looks bulkier. The new Ultra 2 band has a flatter design, and according to Samsung, its air pocket structure makes it 26% lighter. The overall length and adjustment range are broadly comparable. For me, the real difference comes from combining the thinner case with the less bulky looking band. My wrist measures around 19 centimeters or 7.5 inches. From the top, both watches fit me well, and neither case hangs over my wrist in a problematic way. From the side, however, the difference is substantial. The older Ultra sits much higher on my wrist. I noticed this under the sleeve, during movements, while working out, and especially while sleeping. That additional height bothers me the most at night. The Ultra 2 is still a larger watch, but it sits noticeably flatter and closer to my arm. If I were choosing based on comfort alone, I would clearly pick the Ultra 2. Especially for sleep tracking and workout, the reduced thickness is one of the most important improvements of the new generation for me. Despite having the same outer dimensions, the Ultra 2 has a larger display. It measures 38.5 instead of 37.3mm and has a resolution of 498 by 498 instead of 480 by 480 pixels. This works out to around 6.5% more circular display area and around 7.5% more pixels. Pixel density remains almost identical, so the main benefit is additional usable space rather than a noticeable increase in sharpness. This is also where it's important to explain exactly how I compared the two watches. For every comparison shown with messages, menus, submenus, and Play Store lists, both watches were set to default, which is level 3 on each model. Even so, the text on the older Ultra 2025 is visibly larger. Default only means that each watch is using its own standard setting. It does not mean that the letters are rendered at exactly the same size on both displays. The difference therefore does not come from the larger panel alone. In my test, the Ultra 2 also uses more compact interface and font scaling. I can see more lines and words in messages, and in settings, advanced features, and Play Store lists, I can sometimes already see the next menu item. This means that I have to scroll less often. As a small additional note, if I leave the Ultra 2 on its default level 3 and move the Ultra 2025 all the way down to the minimum level 1, the visible font size becomes roughly comparable. If I set both watches to level 1, however, the Ultra 2 once again shows noticeably more content. The main comparison in this video still remains default versus default, or level 3 versus level 3. This advantage only applies to the messages, lists, and menu screens shown here. On larger weather, fitness, or health tiles, both watches display essentially the same number of elements. the larger screen is not automatically filled with extra information in every part of the interface, which is the same result I saw in my Galaxy Watch 9 size comparison. Battery capacity increases from 590 to 800 mAh, which is a gain of around 36%. Even so, Samsung rates both generations for up to 80 hours with the always-on display and up to 60 hours with it enabled. The Ultra 2 does charge faster, reaching approximately 40% in 30 minutes and a full charge in around 90 minutes. These are manufacturer claims rather than results from my own controlled battery test. What remains impressive is that Samsung increased the battery capacity while making the case 1.4mm thinner. When the two watches are sitting next to each other, the difference may not look huge at first. After wearing them directly one after another, however, my choice is clear. I would go with the Ultra 2. It bothers me less while sleeping, working out, and wearing it throughout the day. I can also see more content in messages and menus. The Ultra 2025 is still worth considering if you can find it for a much lower price and the additional thickness does not bother you. Its launch price was €699, while the Ultra 2 launched at €750. If you already own the Ultra 2025, a few additional lines of text alone are not a reason to upgrade. But if its tall profile bothers you as much as it bothers me during sleep or exercise, the Ultra 2 is a meaningful upgrade. There's still one limitation for smaller wrists. The Ultra 2 is thinner, but it's not narrower. It feels more comfortable, but that does not turn it into a small watch. Overall, the Ultra 2 wins the size comparison for me. Not because it looks smaller from above, but because Samsung reduced the thickness. A difference of 1.4mm may not sound impressive, but it is clearly visible and even more noticeable on my 19cm wrist. Together with the larger display and more compact text scaling, this makes the Ultra 2 the more practical Ultra for everyday use in my opinion. Let me know in the comments which of the two watches you prefer visually and whether 1.4mm less thickness would be worth paying more for. If this video helped you out, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel, and I guess I will see you in the next one. Peace.